The following podcast is a next level production.
Show me your matcher profile. No. Jennifer. Gab. Baby steps. There we go. All right. Quite nice, actually. Oh my God. We're not using your corporate headshot as your profile photo. What's your first date gonna be? Webinar?
This is exactly what
Come on. Okay, there's no judgment. But that was a really bad choice.
Hey panelists, welcome back to the show. I'm Mark.
And I'm Steve.
And this is going to be a spoiler-full podcast about She-Hulk Attorney at Law Season 1, Episodes 4, 5, and 6. Now, you're probably saying to yourself, why are they doing so many in a row? Well, honestly, I've been behind because I've been dealing with some, health issues and journeys and trying to fix them during this time. And we kind of skipped a few, so I'm trying to play catch-up. So that way we're just going to bang out 4, 5, and 6 of this particular series right now. Bear with us, but the remaining episodes will be consecutive though.
Yeah.
But with this, we'll move right into She-Hulk Attorney at Law Season 1, Episode 4. This is not real magic. So
Is this not real magic?
Oh, is this not real magic? So We'll jump right into that with the synopsis.
Yeah, She-Hulk's new client Wong is suing for unauthorized use of the mystic arts. Pretty simple.
Pretty simple. Yep. Yeah, apparently a lot of things happen. Initial thoughts on this one?
The very first time I watched it and I saw them talk about Titania on the previously on, I hoped that we would get more of Jamila Jamil, but of course I think we get a brief shot of her face on the TV, and then of course at the end we get the tie-in to the next episode 5. So it's kind of cool. We're doing at least 4 and 5 together, and then 6 is a little bit different. But I really enjoyed 4. There's a whole lot. I mean, 4 had probably maybe the most comedy of what was kind of the B story or the C story, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Mostly the humor was mostly around Madison and Wong. And then that was a side story if you think about it, even though it's like a heart of what was going on with Wong. But also Jen and her journey into Matcher app, or whatever it is,
the
and
dating
going on
world,
dates.
yeah, whatever it was, yeah.
So it's showing her turmoil of dealing with being She-Hulk as well as Jen, and how she's always being turned down for just her, and then everybody loving, embracing the idea of She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you, I enjoyed it for the humor aspects totally, and they really they had me laughing at like a bunch of times, definitely within this episode, and a lot of it had to do with Wong and Madison, and then obviously with what Jen had to deal with. But also, this leads us into, or continues, but we'll talk about later on, of the experience from the last episode. So I have those in my notes, and like what we're going to see later on when we cover 4, 5, and 6. But yeah, because we know that Jen got attacked in the previous episode from the Wrecking Crew, if you want to call them that. Right. So, and then this starts off with her father coming in, try to help, which, like I said, I enjoyed it. It was very humorous. I know that out of the 3 of these episodes, that a lot of people didn't like one of them. I'm forgetting which one.
I didn't like 5. That was me. I don't know about the rest. 5 for me was just it wasn't my favorite, I'm sure, but we'll get to that when we get to 5. I'll talk about why.
Okay. Any special moments that you like that cater to
Absolutely.
your fancy.
We've already been talking about Madison and Wong, but I'm going to kind of separate them a little bit because, Madison, she's got her friends in the audience that were just hilarious to me as well. And her journey throughout the episode is I didn't notice until my third watch that she's carrying like a beating heart. When she falls into Wong's TV room there, she's got like a beating heart in her hand. And so I wasn't sure. And I was trying to figure out where she came from when Wong ringed her in there towards the end, because people are back there like shouting her name. And she's talking about, I was just going to show off my dance move or whatever, and I just her whole vibe. I don't know if we're going to get to see the character ever again, but it would be funny just to see where her and Wong's journey is going to kind of take him, because it looked like, I don't know, it looked like they had kind of a thing. So, but
yeah. I was feeling that too. I was like, well, are they going to ship Wong and Madison?
exactly. Wongison, I don't know.
Wongison, that'd be a new thing. Make it happen. Hashtag that. To me, I enjoyed the character because it's like the over the top girl, like kind of like a Jersey kind of girl. But if you think about it, but it really gets the chuckles out of me, especially when she first drops in on Wong, even with the heart, because obviously Donnie Blaze screwed up and just like she got sucked into this dimension, and then she had to make a deal with a demon to get out, and then she gets dropped in Wong's place. Now it's pretty funny because now we get to see Wong becoming more modernized over the years, and this is one of them where she kind of like spoils the Sopranos in that season 5 episode 12 long-term parking is on the screen when they're watching, and then she just like, oh, don't you hate it that they killed Adriana in this episode? Oh man.
Yeah.
And then that leads us to where who he has to find out, and he finds out it's Donnie Blaze, and how he's like a trick magician, but apparently he tried to be with Wong and the rest of them out there.
Yeah, I think he said he spent a week. He was a week at Hermitage, and then before they kicked him out or whatever.
Yeah,
whatever
but he still got to keep his sling ring, apparently.
Yeah. I loved Wong in this episode. I loved he did a little dance move kind of thing before he sat down to settle in for his Sopranos with his snack and his TV break.
Yeah,
and I love it that we saw him before the title card, and Jen in one of her fourth wall breaks talks about him. And but it's one of those things that you can see that when he comes to Jen, he's obviously got some frustration in his voice because he's just spent however long he spent with Madison, and it just was really, really another great moment. That office, when he's in the office with Jen there trying to convince her to take his case, was just another fun moment.
Yeah, it was a fun moment in the sense the cease and desist between Jen and Nikki, and now they're talking about his case, and she's like, do you have anything in writing? No. Everybody, it's just like the word of the Carmitage. It's like, okay. She's just looking at it, and then of course, we get the typical thing that we saw in the advertisements for before the show even started. It's like, no, it's like, no, we do this based upon law. Not the laws of Ashanti.
Yeah. That was great.
But let's talk about Donnie Blaze. Now, Donnie Blaze is an interesting character to me for the fact that Donnie Blaze. Now, think about it. Donnie Blaze, Johnny Blaze. So I don't know if that'll come into play later on because they not introduced the Ghost Rider in the MCU right now just yet. The only time we ever saw Ghost Rider is literally through Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or the Nicolas Cage movies that came out years ago.
Right.
So I think this is kind of like a small setup. So I like the link to that. Has nothing really to do with what Donnie is doing, because Donnie is just dealing with dimensions and trying to be a typical trick magician that's out there. Of course, Wong hates the idea that he's using the magics that he learned at the Carmitage,
Yeah, he was an interesting character. Again, I like that at the end, we kind of wrap up that story there at the end when She-Hulk has got she's got the little guy, and she's like, before I throw him back, are you going to accept the cease and desist order? And they're like, yes, we will. So I like to kind of wrap that story up. We don't really need to worry about that coming back or seeing.
No, I think again. It's like, it's just bottled for this one. but it sets up, at least you know who Donnie Blaze is. He might come back later, who knows? But it's like, this is all done. You know, they don't have to worry about it. Plus, the fact that, you know, it all occurs during the time that she's going on that date from the Matcher app. And she's on the couch with the guy, and he, you know, Wong literally just drags her in, and he's like, help me out. And it's like, you know, because all these little demons come out. And that's one of the things that I liked from the trick that he did, because what was it, like a bird? And then there was an egg on his hand.
Yeah.
The egg hatches and it turns into this little micro demon, looks like a squirrel on steroids. And then it starts attacking, but then multiple come out when he's trying to get rid of it, and then they grow. And then that's when we get Jen brought in, and they do this battle, but even Wong's like, you know, do your Hulk thing. She goes, they're not dying. It's like, oh, and that's the first time I ever thought of, like, wow, they're talking about killing things on this show now.
Yeah, that was an interesting. You know, Donnie is. We get another case of somebody flipping the bird. I forgot to mention that a second ago. Yeah, because when he's in the courtroom, he's like, "Look, I have a bird." And he's flipped his middle finger, and I was like, "Man, Disney, that's pretty edgy." Yeah, but yeah. Let's talk about Jin and She-Hulk's dates. So the first guy that Jin matches up with is just kind of a douche. You know, he's looking at his phone. He's looking at other women. As this was saying, as Jin. Yeah. I loved the moment when as Jin, she gets a notification that her phone says no new matches, and she's like, "Why is this a notification? Like, why are you telling me I've got no matches?" So then, of course, she decides to create a profile as She-Hulk, and we get the several bad dates that even She-Hulk gets on before she finally meets the guy, the one night stand pediatric, you know, oncologist who just bounces in the morning. Because
he was disturbed. He's like, "Who are you?" "I'm Jen. I was your." He's like, "Yeah." And then it's one of those things, like, he was just, the idea, he thought she was always She-Hulk.
Right.
And it's when it's like, oh, this is not what I was in for. So he just up and leaves. But to me, that was, you know, you could see it from the side of a woman that has to go on these dates based upon looks and what guys want. And, you know, and then she kind of took advantage of the situation too, through the Matcher app with that guy. If you think about it, she was like, she just literally picks him up and brings him to bed.
Oh yeah. Like she right away, as soon as she finds out that he's a decent and he's attractive, she's like, "Let's go home." You know, I'm like, whoa, moving a little fast there. But, you know, I guess she just needed to get some. So
yeah, I think she also wanted to get some when she got back from the fight. I guess she was all pumped up with killing those little demons. But as the funny thing too about this episode is the fourth wall breaks. I've been counting them. So we got 3 total. So in the beginning, with her talking about Wong being back and how, it's like, yes, it's one of those, you're happy, Wong's here. And it's like, yeah, this would be something that everybody tweets about. Right. Which literally that's what happened when this episode came up. The next one was when she steals that doctor's shirt or his sweater after he spilled the wine. She just tosses it back and looks at it. She just tosses it.
She doesn't really say anything there.
But she just looks directly at it.
Yeah. And so I call those the not fourth wall breaks, because there's 2 or 3 instances in the episode where you kind of think it's going to be a fourth wall break. And then suddenly we realize, oh no, the other people are listening to her. You know, there was 2 or 3 times in the episode we had the not fourth wall breaks.
Yeah.
So
when the doctor leaves in the morning, she does that. She just looks at it and that's it. Yeah.
The line about dating in your 30s was a fourth wall break, and then of course at the end she lets us know there's going to be a tag that we won't want to miss. You know, so the fourth wall breaks in this episode were really, and that may be that. Well, we'll talk about that in episode when we get to episode 5.
Yeah.
I did notice one other thing. I noticed that Jane, and this is a spoiler if anybody hasn't watched Thor: Love and Thunder yet, I don't know why you hadn't been, but skip ahead about 30 seconds. Okay, there's your warning. I did notice that Jane as Thor is in the Marvel crawl.
Okay.
At the Marvel Studios crawl. It's a very quick shot of her when she turns to the when she first turns to the camera, and you see her in the mask and stuff. So that's the only recent, as of episode 4, that's the only recent one that I saw. I did see Ms. Marvel in it.
I think it's set up or reflecting on stuff that they've already done. because there's still speculation of, hey, can we bring back her as the Mighty Thor? Because not, spoilers, everybody, for having seen Thor: Love and Thunder. Give a few seconds, please. So, all right, yeah. So basically, Jane dies at the very end of Thor: Love and Thunder. But that doesn't really mean that they can't bring her back through an alternate dimension. Obviously, we're going to get...
Oh, of course not.
Secret Wars, and I've said it before, the Secret Wars that the Feige's most likely setting up is going to be the one where it was from 2015 when they had a run, and I forget who it was, Dan Slott, John Byrne, not John Byrne, but even still, like a whole bunch of writers and artists were involved in it. And it's multiple dimensions. It's the multiverse coming together, and you have different versions of different people. You could have multiple versions of Thor, multiple versions of Reed Richards, Hulk, anybody. We already had multiple Spider-Mans. So obviously it's a setup for us to get to that point.
Yeah. The only other note I really have, besides I've already gone through kind of all my moments, the only other note I have is Wong mentioned a wedding. He said, I think we have some left over from the wedding. Whose wedding is he talking about?
But that's a good question. I'd like to know which wedding that is. Because, when he talks about Madison at the very end, they were talking about yak milk. Yep. She goes, milk, Wong, what's the weirdest drink you have had? And Wong just turns back and he goes, vodka and yak milk. Never again. But and then she goes, do you have any of that? He goes, yeah, we have some in the fridge. She wants to try it. But apparently he's a gin and tonic kind of guy.
Yeah.
The only other quote I would have would be Wong, and this is during the courtroom. So, it was probably with him and Jen saying, can we send Donnie to the mirror dimension? He probably won't die.
Yeah. I've got a few quotes. When we first meet Madison in Wong, she says, who are you? Are you the Goblin King? And he just says no. Like, no context or anything. He just says no. And of course, Donnie says the title of the episode. He says, is this not real magic? Your elegancy, when he's talking to the judge. Yep. So there's our mic drop moment. But then the other one I got was when we talked about when Wong drags her into the fight. He says, come on, I feel like your dad.
That is true.
So I thought that is
true. The way he was talking to her.
Pretty good one.
Well, what I love is how they've been developing.
Like your dad, so.
And now, mind you, he wasn't a huge character in the comics. So I'm glad that way you have this kind of a character. It's kind of like, I forget the guy's name, but in Ant-Man, the one who just talks so fast.
Yeah. Maurice.
Him. I love him.
Yeah.
Maurice, yeah. So Maurice is always he's such a character unto himself, but he's also helpful. But in this case, Wong is like, he's kind of super. So
yeah. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun to see Wong, in more of these kind of comedic roles.
Yeah. And more involved too. All right. I think that wraps it for that episode. 4.
Yeah.
And episode 4. We can move right along into episode 5, Mean Green and Straight Poured into These Jeans.
Such a great title. That was fun to write. She-Hulk discovers that Titania owns the name She-Hulk and is suing her for trademark infringement. Just quick little note there.
Yep. Well, considering at the very end she was subpoenaed on the last episode.
At the end of 4, we get and I love that she opens the door and she knows exactly who the guy, like she recognizes that he's a process server. She can tell what he is right away. He does the pretense of a package and she's like, come on, I know you're a process server, and so she it was just fun, a fun little lawyer moment that she could recognize the situation.
Yeah, she's used to it. She's seen it before. Overall thoughts of this particular episode? You want to talk about? You said this is the one you weren't really too happy about.
It wasn't my favorite. Even though it had Jamila Jamil in it, which I absolutely love, there weren't that many fourth wall breaks. But I think you may have noticed more than I did. There was no tag on this one, which was kind of a bummer. And of course, the end reveal was great, but then we haven't seen that yet. The end reveal of seeing Daredevil's Cal there in the guy's shop. But of course, now we haven't seen him yet. And plus, we didn't get to see her outfits. We only got to see one dress in the next episode. So it just 5 just felt like it just felt like it was almost a filler episode.
It was. It was a filler episode, but it was something in a sense of they were trying to give us something a little bit more for for Jen with lawyering. I think they wanted to get us more in the courtroom based upon what she does.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that's really, it's like, all right, well, we only kind of inserted this in X amount of episodes. Let's devote this, since it is revolving around her and trademark law as well as copyright law. So it kind of makes sense. And I thought it was pretty cool, though. Mainly for the fact that I had to learn trademark and copyright law when I was going to school for audio engineering and I went to for Mercy College for when I tried to continue my degree for audio engineering. You had to sit there and learn all this stuff. And the best person to really listen to about this particular episode would be Penny and Greg. And Penny was an attorney.
Right.
And she is very familiar with a lot of that stuff. I don't know if she was doing trademark, but she is familiar with it. And that could be found on Podcastica. And it's called She-Hulk Cast. So if you guys are really more interested in the law of that, I would go more towards Penny. Me, I only go on what I remember and what I know from trademarks that I've put into, because, listeners, anybody who wants to take up certain things like the name Panels to Pixels podcast, please don't, because it is trademarked. So, but I enjoyed the episode myself. I enjoyed it for that reason. There's a few things that made me cackle and laugh about it and get giddy too, because of the weird stuff that went in there. Like, in order for her to, like, the side story with Nikki and Pug, and they have to go look for a costume for her.
Yeah.
And the fact that Pug is helping out, I thought that was pretty cool. And the fact that, it's like he goes in there and he gives the name and he goes, and then he finally lets him in. It's all like bootleg merchandise.
Right.
Alonzo just shows them all bootlegs. It's like Avengers and Avengers.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. That was a good moment. It was good seeing Nikki bonding with the other lawyers in these 2 episodes here that we're going to get to and get to 6 as well. So really, really cool.
Yeah, we're getting more Nikki out of this, it seems, which is cool.
I really liked that her cousin was just oblivious to the fact that she didn't have She-Hulk trademarked. He's got all this stuff that he bought that he wants her to sign, and she's like, no. And then I love the quote when she walks in to Titania with the She-Hulk stuff, and she says, "I don't want to cut." The double meaning there of she's cutting in line, but she also doesn't want to cut of the merchandise. I thought was a kind of a cool line to throw in there when Titania told her to go back to the back of the line. So.
Yeah, and the fact that they called it, what was it? Swill, snake oil.
Snake oil, yeah. She said it's literally snake oil.
But literally, if you look at everything that Jamila Jamil is wearing as Titania, and the marketing for the She-Hulk stuff that she's got, a lot of it has purple and green in it, and those are the colors of She-Hulk within the comics.
Okay.
And it's literally from from the title card, too. And actually, the title card in the very beginning is literally She-Hulk, whatever, and it was like basically for the branding of the snake oil that she's trying
Titania. Yeah, She-Hulk brand stuff.
And then I love with her, Jen's boss about, what was it that he wanted? He saw on the
blast
billboard?
Drink. He's like, how come I saw a billboard for She-Hulk's Booty Blast or something like that drink? And that's when Jen starts to explain to him that she doesn't have a trademark on the name. He's like, I really don't care. So, but then I did love that. That was kind of a lawyering moment there where she says she's going to take care of it. And he's like, no, you're not going to defend yourself, or you're not going to do this case yourself. Mallory is going to try this case.
Yeah.
And so we got that moment where Jen gets to kind of bond with Mallory in this episode. So there were some cool things. She does, she also talks about the benefits of being She-Hulk, the fact that she can walk home, she can walk in a dark alley like we saw in the end of episode 3 there where she got attacked. And so there's moments in this episode that it just wasn't my favorite is all.
Yeah, I know. I get it. Other things that I actually did enjoy is the fact that they had to bring in her matches as She-Hulk, because
that was great.
They realized that it's like, oh, she used the name before and she put it on it as herself through a match app, which automatically it's already was in use.
Right.
So if somebody already has it in play and use, it's kind of harder to trademark, because you would have to contact that other person and say, like, you would have to literally just be like, I need to buy you out or something. and then it goes through. But the fact is, they seat every guy that she dated.
Yeah.
For the actual trial, they had the creepy guy that she went out with. The first one was a creep. Then you had Todd, I think his name was, and then the doctor.
Yeah. Yeah. And the doctor admits that, if he had been Jen, he wouldn't have gone out with her. And so we see this, not just using the She-Hulk name, but yeah. So I'm with you. The courtroom scenes were good. I did have that as a positive.
Yeah.
The animation of her face in those courtroom scenes, though, I would normally not notice. It just looked bad. I don't know.
Yeah, I had spoken to somebody when I think I mentioned it before. When Rob and I went to Terrificon, he introduced me to his comic guy, the guy who owns his own store. He didn't have a table, but he was there to look around, get some comics, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I was talking to that guy, and he was telling me that he worked at DC and Marvel at one point. And he was the one that told me for a lot of these shows or the movies, like the shows on TV for like HBO Max, things like that, for like what Peacemaker and stuff, because you have animation in there.
Right.
They literally force it down the animators' throats to work 24/7 until the 11th hour to get it right. My mother, who never watches these shows, she said that to me. She goes, the animation didn't look that great, didn't look fluid.
Yeah, and other episodes have been fine. It's looked great. Like, I haven't even noticed it. It just, this one, I don't know what it was about this one that.
Yeah, it might have been at a time when they dropped it, they didn't get it in on time.
Yeah,
and to make it fluid, I don't know, but I was told that they pushed those guys.
Okay.
You spoke about the Daredevil costume, so yeah, let's talk about that a little bit more, because we did cover Daredevil when it was on Netflix, but the costume is a little bit different. So the cowl is yellow and red. So we're going back to the yellow and red suit. I feel sorry for the original costume maker from the original Netflix show.
Yeah.
He's not going to be back because now we got the Drip Broker. And the Drip Broker is an interesting character. Apparently he is making suits for other superheroes. I love the fact that Nikki states that, oh, she's an Avenger. Oh, well, she was considered for it to being an Avenger. She's a Hulk. And then the guy didn't realize it until when Jen, changes.
Have they told us where this is set? What city is this in? Is it in?
It's in Los Angeles.
That's what I thought. It's in Los Angeles. So it would be a different guy, because the Daredevil guy would be in New York.
New York.
So yeah, this would be a different, which is going to be interesting for the character moving
Daredevil.
out of Hell's Kitchen. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
I was going to bring that up. Yeah, because it's weird. How does Matt go from Hell's Kitchen in New York to Los Angeles? Was he brought there particularly, or was he just there to get his costume, and then he winds up going there, and then I was visiting a friend, and I'm acting as their lawyer or something.
Yeah, that could be anything. So it'll be interesting whenever we do get him.
And we also have to see that confrontation on the top of the building that we know, because that's the first look that we got.
Mm-hmm. There
was also talks of like a high end character that's going to be talked about, that's being represented for one of the legal teams. I don't think it's going to be Jen's, but I think it's going to be something that they have to go through. Maybe he's brought in for that particular reason, because maybe that character was from New York, but we won't know until that time comes. We have another three episodes.
Yeah, 3 or 4 more. I mean, counting 6, we've got 4 more episodes. So
yeah,
that's all I had for 5. I already said all my quotes that I had.
Yeah, same here. The one thing that I liked is the end credits, because you see her boss with the drink.
Yeah, I've started to notice that they're intercutting the scenes that the characters talk about.
Yes.
They're intercutting courtroom drawings of those scenes, like we see Nikki and Pug with the sneakers at the end of this one, because she decides, she says, "Oh, I'll get your sneakers if you'll do this for me." And so yeah, I am really enjoying watching those end credits when they have those moments in there that we didn't get to see in the episode.
What I liked about one of the end credit scenes that we get, that drawing, it is with Pug and Nikki, and we see his sneaker collection, which, they literally hint at Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
Because he wanted to get the new Iron Man sneakers, kind of like the Michael Jordans,
Yeah.
And if you look at that room where he has all his sneakers, and trust me, in what I do in home theater installation, I went to a guy who was a basketball player. He had literally walls of shelves where his sneakers were that looked like that. But in this case, they were all based upon superheroes.
Oh,
You see Captain America, you see Iron Man, you see a Cyclops. So I guess that's instituting X-Men into the MCU as well through, just through visual. Deadpool, Hawkeye, Submariner, Scarlet Witch, Wolverine, Hulk, Vision, The Thing. There's like a whole slew of them. If you freeze frame it and go through each one and look at the color schemes on there, you can match it up based upon the character. The Thing one is like very obvious because it's all rock.
Interesting.
All yellow rock.
Very cool. Yeah, I didn't do that. So that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's all I had regarding this particular episode. Guess we can move on to the next one?
Yeah. Episode 6.
All right. So, episode 6 is entitled Just Jen.
Yep. Just Jen. So Jen is a bridesmaid at a friend's wedding, a stressful event compounded by uniquely She-Hulk issues. Yeah, for sure.
Well, it's more Jen issues because it's still relating to She-Hulk. Yeah, my initial thoughts on this one, I enjoyed it. It was funny. It's another funny one in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But you could see the turmoil that women have at going to these events, and if there's that competitive mentality amongst women or overshining somebody. Because when Jen does go to the wedding, she's as She-Hulk.
Right.
And Lulu goes, I need to talk to you. And then she goes, oh, this is my day.
Right.
So it's like, that was like, it's all about the competition of like, the focus of what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jen at that point, of all things before then, never really wanted to be She-Hulk out in public like that. It was just for her to be like, oh, I could be popular now.
Yeah, I think she's kind of changing her tune on that, though, even though Titania kind of reminded her of it in this episode. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in episode 7 if we play into that at all. So, yeah, I love this one. It totally, for me, made up for last week's one. I actually sent a live Steve into Podcastica's She-Hulk cast for it. So Penny and Greg got that and should be playing that on there. I think theirs is already out. Should be playing it on theirs. And this is the episode that I saw Ms. Marvel in the Marvel Studios crawl. So they have added her in there somewhere. It was real quick and I barely caught it, but I'm pretty sure that's what I saw was Ms. Marvel. So it's nice. Like you said, they're adding these shows and characters as we're getting them, they're adding them to the crawl. So
yeah. Well, let's move right into highlights. Like I said, I enjoyed it as a whole. It's just a more comedic aspect.
Yeah, it was great. That box opening scene at the beginning was just hilarious. I think I jumped every time Jen opened it and it popped and all that glitter popped out at her. It was, and there was part of me. There was a couple of moments in there when I was like, is she being pranked in this wedding? Because they keep like Lulu comes out and asks her, oh, can you clean up out here? And then the other bridesmaids are like, oh, can you iron these shirts? And I'm like, where is this? Like, there was no context for it. I think that was the only thing that really confused me about the episode was they didn't give us, if they'd at least given us some context, like she said she knew Lulu in high school, but she didn't say anything about her being like a mean girl or them having a rivalry or anything like just a line thrown in there about that might have helped me understand why she was getting this treatment. But, and also the dress that Luke made for her, it really looked way better on She-Hulk than it did on Jen.
Well, it's funny. I thought it was supposed to grow on her, like to
That's
stretch.
what I thought. It was supposed to be like stretch and then reduce when it became Jen, but it looked like she was just wearing another oversized dress again. As Jen, and I was like, this doesn't, I thought it was supposed to stretch and move with her. Maybe I misunderstood that, or maybe he just couldn't do that for this dress. I don't know, but it was a little weird.
First one for me would probably be Mr. Immortal was an interesting character for me.
Yeah, I had this as my next one as well. So let's go. Let's talk about him.
Let's talk about him. Well, this is a character directly from the comics itself, which is funny because in the comic, which is very different because this guy he tries to kill himself constantly. But in this case, they kind of make him a joke, which I think in the comic books it was, because how could he be part? It's like he just doesn't die.
Yeah, that like I remember one comic book scene where he's like in an airplane and it's crashing, and all the other heroes are trying to figure out how they save the passengers. He's just like, "I'll see you on the ground," and then like jumps out. You know?
Yeah. What was that? What was that? Oh man, I'm trying to forget his name. The guy who in the 70s who stole $300,000 and jumped out.
DB Cooper.
DB, yeah, it just reminded me of that.
Yeah. He was great. All of his partners were great. I love that whole scene, and we'll talk some more about that. But yeah, he's not really like, it's not really his only power is that he doesn't die, or he dies a little. I'm technically dead, but not for
yeah, not very long.
yeah. So it was interesting. It was interesting. I loved the whole negotiating scene when Nikki is getting the difference. That whole swivel where they swivel their chairs around to have the discussion was hilarious to me. I love that Amy, the one who figured all this out and got the ball rolling, gets a sincere apology, you know, and a 20-second stare. That's another one of those.
It was supposed to be 15 second, and then he kind of, she goes, now it's 20 seconds.
Now it's 20 seconds. Yeah, I love that. And we get to see that. That's another one of those courtroom drawings at the end there where you see the two of them looking at each other and Nikki holding a stopwatch. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, and it was pretty cool. But the funniest part of it was when Nikki and Mallory were talking about him and how he mentioned, he goes, well, I just die, and he's still married to them, but he technically, because he didn't really die.
Yeah.
So this is the whole point of the divorces. The fact is, like, she goes, oh, you just leave and blah, 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 blah. He goes, you're supposed to represent me. You're supposed to back me up. And she goes, it doesn't mean we have to like it.
Right. Exactly. I love he jumps out. When he jumped out the window, I thought he was like not going to use them as his lawyer, but then later it comes on and he's still using him as his lawyer. So I guess it was just a way to avoid that confrontation. Like they said, you're just avoiding confrontation is all you're.
No, that's exactly it. He just wanted to get out of there like any other guy. It's like being screamed at by women.
Yeah.
The best part too, within when they were talking to the wives of him as they were debating, and they were wondering how they got the information, and Nikki finds out and she writes it down. It's Intelligentsia is a website or something. It's like a social media group that is online. Now, Intelligentsia in the comic was led by multiple people.
Okay.
Of like very smart people, Dr. Doom, MODOK, and the Leader. Now, obviously, we haven't seen, the last time we saw the Leader was back in Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton at the very end, which was hinted. And I think that eventually we will get that. A lot of people are speculating that that guy Todd might be it, but I don't think so. I think he might be affiliated because the end scene credit, we do see it. But I really like the fact that we see a lot more with like peppered into the episode, especially with Jen.
Yeah.
Because they have apparently somebody's putting in at the very end into the website about probably on a message board or a comment thread saying, and then it's replying to Hulk King, which is really weird. That's what it was listed as.
Right.
Saying, is the plan engaged or something? But they also have surveillance on Jen. There's a whole platform or billboard of like people talking about how can she die?
Right.
How
and then they got those needles, those big needles that I guess they're going to try to penetrate her skin with that big needle.
They tried, but they couldn't before with the Wrecking Crew.
But now they've got those new, that's what I'm saying. Now they've got these other needles that look like they're bigger, and they're probably going to try to actually, they hope it will puncture her skin is what I'm assuming. So,
which I'm thinking, because remember that weird guy Todd that she dated?
Yeah, you were just talking about him. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm thinking he was part of the Wrecking Crew because one of those guys, the guy who had tried to use the needle and it bent, was covered in a ski mask. You couldn't find his face. Okay.
Possibly.
And I kind of stilled on it, and his teeth are he's got big teeth. But it like you could see that through the ski mask. So I'm really thinking he's part of this.
Right.
And that's where the weird questions about can vibranium puncture you came from during that date.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but you're right. He was,
can
interesting.
It hurt you or something? So she goes, why, do you have any? Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
And then,
I kept waiting for Josh to have something, like nefarious about him, but it seems like he's just an okay guy, but we'll see, I guess, if we see some more of him. But yeah, I love that her cousin is the DJ for the wedding, and what did he call
Oh,
himself?
Chad. Yeah.
He called himself something
yeah.
Hulk, DJ Hulk or something like that. I can't remember.
No, I have it listed here.
Yeah.
I forgot what he says. Oh, it's hilarious too when I saw that. I was like, something about the incredible Ched or something
Yeah,
like that.
Chulk or something like that. Yeah, it had Hulk in there somewhere.
Yeah, I had it. Oh, it's yeah, Incredible.
Incredible. Okay.
Yeah, DJ Incredible is his name.
Okay.
That's it. So yeah, the fact that he's DJing, it's like she can't get away from him.
Yeah,
I love. They're not brother and sister.
No,
they're
it's
cousins.
Yeah, cousins.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was great. Her getting drunk, and then like we talked about the other day, when Titania wants her to change and she can't do it. She's like, I forgot how, and then she's just got to like concentrate on Titania, and she's able to get the change. So I thought that was great. The fight to electric slide.
Yep.
Again, a pretty brief fight here. It didn't end quite the same way. This time we have Titania stumbling on some ice and hurting her veneers.
Mm-hmm.
Another one of those courtroom drawings we see the dentist at the end.
Yeah.
So that was cool. Just the whole thing with Josh again. I keep going back to that because I just can't. I don't know. I want him to be normal, but at the same time, so I guess we'll see if he's
Josh is which one?
The guy,
doctor?
the nice guy, the guy she met here at the wedding, the one who she was talking to. She was sharing French fries there as Jen at the end with him, and that's that's when they had the surveillance, so we saw that. So I don't know if he's maybe involved in that. I don't know if we're going to see him again or not. I can't wait for the next one to come out. So.
Yeah. One thing that I noticed too within it, Nikki calls her Shulky in the very beginning. Now, Shulky, a lot of people are telling me, but I remember it back in the late 70s, early 80s when I was like reading comics as a kid. I remember the Thing calling her Shulky at one point, but apparently it was prevalent in Dan Slott's Sensational She-Hulk. So during that run in like the early 2000s and also in the 90s as well. But yeah, that's where that came from. So it's like a name that people are like, before this episode came out, people were saying, oh, we're going to get the traditional, what they call her. And I remember Thing calling her Shulky, but it's cool that Nikki gave her that. And I'm hoping that they use it more and more.
Yeah, we'll see. I like Nikki in this episode, her being the one that's negotiating with all the partners. And she's like the one woman, you just want cash, straight cash for you. And then like the other one gets this paid off or whatever. I thought was just her whole vibe. And, Mallory just letting her kind of do her thing and then go, okay, we'll draw up the paperwork and have it all taken care of. But and then her and Nikki bonding there at the end, Nikki finding out that Mallory is married and has at least one kid. And so we're getting to know a little bit more about Mallory, and it's really cool. I hope this show comes back for another season. I'm enjoying it. I know I've got some friends that don't like it. They think, I don't know, they're weird.
Well, I think it's trust me. There's a lot of people I know that didn't like Hawkeye.
Right, exactly. Like there's
or Falcon and the Winter Soldier. They'll be like, I didn't like that one, so I'll just honestly, not every Marvel or Disney Plus Marvel show is going to be everybody's cup of tea, but the only reason why I'm into it is because I know it's going to lead into Easter eggs of what goes into the actual MCU. And then a lot of people are going to be like, well, how did you know that? Well, it was on this show.
Right.
And if you follow the shows, you can do that. But, some people will just be like, I just want to watch it as is. So that's fine.
Yeah. So we'll see where it goes. But yeah, no tag again on this one. I'm kind of missing the tags. But
that was actually brought up in the press, and they said, they only did X amount of tags, and they realized that people were upset about it for the fact that they didn't have it. But I guess, once they started, they wanted more.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of fans were like, well, this should have been a regular thing, but it's based upon what the writers are able to come up with.
Well, yeah.
And I guess they couldn't come up with anything.
Yeah. Well, and like it was mentioned on one of the other podcasts I listened to, they kind of did these in a different order than what they were originally going to put them as. So maybe they didn't have the three with tags all together at the beginning. I think that's probably what made us expecting it, or four, I guess, four with tags, all right in a row, that made us as an audience expect to see that every time. And then so when we didn't see that, it's like it's jarring. So we'll see if we get some more or not, but
hopefully.
Yeah.
As far as like fourth wall breaks, Well, there was one with Nikki prepping for the wedding.
Mm-hmm.
When she's talking to Nikki and she makes a comment about the wedding. Then the name of the episode, Just Jen, and how she didn't want it to show up at the wedding that day after her friend Julie wanted her to just be Jen.
Yeah, I thought that was great too, that she changes her tune when she's actually, it sounded like she might have been a little drunk at her own wedding, you know, because like the day before she's like, oh, I don't want you to be She-Hulk, this is my day. And then the day of the wedding, she's like, She-Hulk is at my wedding, you know, and she's got so excited. And so I was really glad to see that turn, because it really, and again, it's kind of what you talked about with that Jen is starting to discover that she's more popular as She-Hulk than as Jen. And I don't know if we're going to get an existential crisis about that later on or not, but it is interesting that she may be starting to appreciate being She-Hulk a little bit more.
Yeah, she is. I love the fact that we get her as drunk Jen, though, throughout most of that wedding, though. The best is when she kind of drunk dials Bruce.
Yes. She's like,
and
where are you?
So, and then it was, where are you? I haven't seen or heard from you in days, weeks, months. And I'm like, oh, wow, it's gotta be months at this point. So she's had the whole crisis of She-Hulk for a while now. Mm-hmm. And then it means that Bruce is off-world. I'm pretty sure they're gonna bring that up at another show or at another venue or movie.
Yeah. So we'll see. And that is all I had for episode 6.
Yeah, same here. I didn't even have quotes, really.
Yeah, I only got to watch it twice, so I'm probably going to definitely watch it again before episode 7 comes out. But it's been really fun, this series. I'm enjoying it. So
same here. I think it's a good comedic style break because it's not all serious all the time.
Yeah.
Because we had that with Captain America and the Winter Soldier, or Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and then Hawkeye was there was a bit of humor in there, but not all the time. Mm-hmm. And then this one was a little bit more. It's like, hey, we got
Ms. Marvel had kind of a mix of it, and then this one is really, I would describe this as a comedy series.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Whereas Ms. Marvel was more of a comedy drama,
and WandaVision was a bit more on a darker comedy aspect, and with the heavy tone in it that led to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Right.
But that's our coverage for episodes 4, 5, and 6 of She-Hulk: Attorney at Law. As far as like certain news, I have a little bit of news, which actually does relate to this to some degree. Well, we talked about Daredevil a little bit. Well, not only is Charlie Cox reprising his role as Daredevil, as we know, but we also get Eldon Hansen coming back as Foggy Nelson.
Good.
Yeah, Foggy Nelson. So we get Daredevil Reborn with at least Eldon Hansen as Foggy Nelson. Mm-hmm. The one that I'm hoping that they do get back would be Deborah Ann Wall.
Yeah. Now, is that supposed to be a series, or is that just a movie, or have they
said? It's a series, but they're going to incorporate Charlie Cox's Daredevil into the MCU as well.
Yeah.
So it's a cool thing, and I'm just hoping that we do get most of the cast. We already know, it's been confirmed that John Bernthal will be back, as far as I know, in a few places that have been stating it, and so it's perfect. You definitely need these characters. We already got the Kingpin, so we're slowly getting back some of that stuff. Originally, it was supposed to be Kristen Ritter's character and Jessica Jones to be back, but now they pushed it, and I think it's going to be Bernthal's Punisher that's going to be coming in, and it's probably going to be, I think John Bernthal will be reintroduced during the Daredevil Reborn series.
Okay.
So that'll be cool. Next up, well, obviously we recorded this a while after, but D23 was out, but they had a lot of trailers for Disney. One of which that you can actually do see on Disney Plus, and I had to look for it because I forgot, and I only heard rumor. It's like, yeah, well, we saw this there. They released a Werewolf by Night trailer for one of the next Disney Plus series.
Yes, I saw something about that today. Michael Giacchino is the musical guy is going to be doing directing. I think it's a movie or a TV movie, something like that. I don't think it's a series. It's a one-off something.
Which like introduces Werewolf by Night to the MCU or the Marvel, whatever. But at least we get that because I was talking about that during Moon Knight because I thought those what were they? Jackals.
The Jackals, yeah.
I thought the Jackals were Werewolf by Night because that was a key scene in Moon Knight, and that's literally how Moon Knight was introduced.
Right.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It is the way the trailer plays out looks like an old Universal Monsters movie trailer with the black and white and everything. So it looks kind of eerie. So they might be going into this MonsterVerse portion of the MCU with this because they have Werewolf by Night.
Right.
Next would be Man-Thing, and Ghost Rider at one point was part of that crew. It was literally a monster squad for, because they had Morbius, Man-Thing, Ghost Rider, yeah.
Okay.
And a whole bunch of people. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I like the old Universal and the way they did this in a Universal way. I thought it was pretty cool.
Interesting. Okay.
So check that out, everybody. But yeah. That was our coverage. We'll just move on in. I see you got a podcast recommendation.
Yeah, if anybody likes sports betting shows, Jim Rome has started one called Jim Rome's Big Head Bets, and that's based. They took a section from his radio show and they have made it into a podcast now. So if you're interested in sports betting, it's just fun to listen to these two guys go at it, about each other and stuff. So it's a pretty fun podcast to listen to. They're usually pretty short. I don't think they're more than 30, 40 minutes. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's an episode that I was on just recently that I thought was pretty cool. It was Rob's Fantasy Picks Movie Edition. That's on the Pirate Core Entertainment Network. We covered the top 5, and it's done like a football fantasy pick, the way we had to do it. So it was interesting. I never did anything like that before. But I'm on there. Rob's on there. Our friend Joe is on there. So, yeah, we do all Steven Spielberg movies. So it was really weird how to break it down. But check that out when you get a chance.
Cool.
Fantasy Picks Movie Edition. And I guess we should move into, where can people hear us?
Well, obviously you're listening to us on your podcast player of choice, whether that be Google Play, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcast. If it's available to give us a rating or a review, we would love to see that and give you a shout out here on the show.
Oh, okay. For feedback. Yep. Yeah, you could check us out on our website, panelstopixelspodcast.com.
We are on Facebook, facebook.com/panels2pixels.
We're also on Twitter. So at panels and the number 2 pixels. So at panels2pixels.
We have an email address, which is panels2pixels1@gmail.com. That's panels2pixels1, the TO spelled out right in the middle, and the number 1@gmail.com.
We are on YouTube. All you have to do is search Panels to Pixels podcast. While you're there, give us a thumbs up if you like what we do, or subscribe. Or that way you get alerted every time we have a new one up. The more that are there, the more we're found.
Excellent. We are on Instagram at Panels2Pixels Podcast, all spelled out in words.
We'd like to encourage everybody to check out the other podcasts on the Next Level Podcast Network. So we highly recommend them all. Wilhelm, Melting Pat, Podcast Zero, and so much more. All you have to do is go to nextlevelradioonline.com and check them out there.
Coming up, hopefully, life has been happening for both Mark and I. So coming up will either be the Umbrella Academy's next episode or She-Hulk.
Yep. Yeah, continuing on with that venture. And where else can listeners hear us?
For me, I send feedback and voicemails to various other podcasts. I mentioned Podcastica's She-Hulk cast at the beginning of this podcast. And others like it, I send voicemails to, so you might hear my voice on somebody else's podcast.
Cool. And you can hear me on Adrenaline Cinema Podcast, and that can be found on the Pirate Core Entertainment Network. You guys know the deal. Everybody who listens to this, I say the same spiel, but we cover action, adventure, fantasy, all those stuff that makes your adrenaline going. So next up on the dock would be Prey. I'm going to be recording with Jerry soon on Omega Man.
Very cool.
Probably the next couple of days. But, yeah, that's it for our show, and we hope you like it. Same podcast, different panel, different pixel. I'm Mark.
And I'm Steve.
And this was Panels to Pixels. We'll see you in the next panel. Good night, everybody.
Good night.